probably the hottest contested topic was the Chicago Bears and why I was the only one to leave them off of my top 12 for this year. And I even looked, as we were preparing for this episode, I looked at some of the expert rankings and I noticed that they're being ranked as high as third.
Yeah, even that's wild even for
by
me.
some of the experts. I don't understand. Now, Cougs is highest on them, ranking them 5th. You rank them 6th. Now, we already mentioned that they have Khalil Mack there. They did add some talent when it came to pass rusher. What was the guy that they added? 11.5 sacks?
Robert Quinn.
Yeah, Robert Quinn's going to get to the quarterback across from Khalil Mack there. But as we stated earlier in the podcast, when it comes to reviewing and predicting a fantasy defensive unit, I have to go on schedule. 2 games against Aaron Rodgers. You're getting 2 games against Matt Stafford. You're getting 2 games against the Minnesota offense. On top of that, you get Matt Ryan week 3, Tom Brady week 5, Sean McVay week 7, Derrick Henry week 9, Deshaun Watson week 14. If you add all of these offensive juggernauts and offensive pieces that are going to put up points, that comes out to 11 games of the Chicago Bears schedule. The only favorable matchups they get, week 2 against the New York Giants, and that still has Saquon Barkley on their roster. They were bottom 5 of last year, but let's not pretend that they don't have any offensive talent. And then week 16 at Jacksonville, which is one of my favorite matchups on this whole slate.
It's a very interesting one.
So what I'm thinking is, instead of ranking the Chicago Bears as one of my top 12 defenses, I'm avoiding them based on that schedule. I'm going to hope that their owner drops them by week 11, 12, 13 in that ballpark, when I think the offenses are just going to wear on them as the season goes. But when that owner drops them late in the season, I would gladly pick them up for week 16 to stream in the fantasy championship. So I would hate them for the regular season. It reflects that in my rankings, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're a team that I pick up to stream on a championship roster, which would kind of look funny, me not ranking them in the top and then having them on a roster that wins it all for a league.
Now, hearing all of your points, I totally understand. I mean, they make plenty of sense, because you're a guy who goes off of schedule predominantly, right? When it goes to ranking guys and ranking defenses especially.
Yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong.
I focus 90% on the schedule and 10% on the talent.
That being said, I still think, I'm not super scared of their opponents in North. Now, I get, like, we mentioned what the Packers defense, or what the Packers offense brings to the table, and sure, it's still a Rodgers offense. They still have talent there with Adams and Aaron Jones, but there's so many question marks. I feel like that's going to be more of a conservative offense because of the play caller there. And you've got the Minnesota Vikings, who they're one injury away from having no running back, really. I mean, unless we can put our faith in Alexander Madison as the top handcuff in football, right? But until he actually sees actual time, we don't know what that's going to be. And I mean, I don't know about you. I'm not the world's biggest Kirk Cousins fan. They just lost Stephon Diggs on that offense. And then you've got the Lions where, if Stafford can stay healthy, sure, quite honestly, one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the league based on his stats, but he still gives interceptions away.
Yeah.
And so that's still a point. So I understand why you would drop them down, but for me, I don't see that being enough for them to be out of the top 12 entirely. But that's just my opinion.
With how I saw them last year, they finished as the 20th ranked defense of 2019. They finished 34 points behind number 12. So in order for them to make up those 34 points to get to where I would expect a top 12 defense to be, I would want a little more favorability in their schedule. And it's just, when I look at the Bears' schedule, they don't have any of those games that I think I would just circle on the calendar and think, you know what, I have to stream this defense against this offense this week. I don't see any of those just giveaway games there. Now, as injuries happen, or maybe even at this point in the year with everything that's going on, maybe as players opt out of the season. Now, let's say that for the hell of it, Phillip Rivers opts out of the 2020 NFL season.
Hey, we don't know.
We don't know. I mean, anything could happen at this point. So many things are so uncertain as we talk about all of this. But for the hell of it, let's just say that Phillip Rivers opts out of the 2020 season.
And he's got to think about his 25 kids.
I would then circle that game against Indy as a favorable matchup. That would be a game where I don't think that Jacoby Brissett can do anything against the Bears defense. I would expect a couple of turnovers and not very many points scored. But I just don't see... I mean, if you have those NFC North offenses on your schedule, then you also have Tom Brady. You also have Drew Brees. You also have Deshaun Watson. Their schedule is just so stacked against them finishing in the top 12 that I'm not buying the hype of so many analysts who put them top 5.